We're now reading the second passage in our double passage selection. So we know that our second passage has to do is a poem. So we're going to go ahead and write poem for the genre. Genre is poem. And then over here, we're going to go ahead and annotate our questions just for this passage. And then we are going to do the compare contrast questions. Okay, so use post early space, page 14, to answer the questions 15 through 18. All right, read lines 11 and 12 from the poem. So 11 and 12, I always know to circle the numbers because we're going to find our text evidence, 10, 11, and 12. So this shows me that that's line 10. So here's 11 and 12. So question 15 is going to take place right there. So since we're just annotating the questions, okay, they will have perils to meet, but they will meet them, as the early settlers did on American shores. Why does the poet compare space travel to the early settlers of America? So what stands out to you? Compare. Good. Compare stands out. So space travelers to early settlers of America. That's what they're comparing. So I'm going to do the compare contrast sign, the Venn diagram, to just so that's what I'm going to be looking at in those two lines. Now we move along. We don't read the answers. So that's a compare contrast question. Okay, what does the final stanza of the poem suggest about the future? We know suggest means what kind of strategy? We have to infer, so that would be good, inference. So that would be a drawing conclusion strategy. So, and we do know the final stanza is like a number. The final stanza is going to matter. So we know the final stanza, we come back here, that's the last stanza, and that will be question 16. Okay, and it suggests about the future. So that's DC, about the future. Okay, now read these lines from the poem. Once we were wayfarers, then seafarers, then airfarers. We shall be spacefarers too. I do notice that farers is in everything, sea, air, and space, and they've just added farers. The progression, which means forward motion, from wayfarers to spacefarers demonstrates that people. So progression, progress, if I think about what that means, what does progress mean if you're going from A to B to C?
You're getting
or
better.
1, good, to 2 to 3. So you're getting progress, you're getting better. It's also could be something like a sequence question, right? You're going from one thing to the end or to the next thing. So the progression from wayfarers to spacefarers, so we know these are important, demonstrates that people something. So we'll find out what that means. What do the descriptions of the future throughout the poem suggest about the speaker? So we know the speaker is the author, right? So what do the descriptions of the future throughout the poem suggest? So suggest always means something like what? Inference, which is drawing conclusions. So what does it suggest about the speaker? And the speaker is the author, right, or the poet. Descriptions of the future, that looks pretty key. Suggest about the speaker. So we think that's also DC with a little bit of what? Author's purpose, AP. So it's kind of one of those. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and read the poem because the next ones are the double questions. So we're not going to do those yet. We're going to read the poem and figure out questions 15, 16, and 17. Let's annotate the poem. Okay, post early for space. Once we were wayfarers, then seafarers, then airfarers. We shall be spacefarers soon, not voyaging from city to city or from coast to coast, but from planet to planet and moon to moon. So where are we headed in this? What do you think? What's the main idea of that stanza 1?
It's talking about how they're already planning on going to the moon.
Oh, good. So we're already going to the moon. So we're starting off from something from the land to the moon. Land to moon, right? Progress. Okay. This is no fanciful flight of imagination, no strange, incredible, utterly different thing. It will come by obstinate, I'm not sure about obstinate, thought and calculation, and the old resolve to spread an expanding wing. Let's come back to that. We shall see homes established on distant planets, friends departing to take up a post on Mars. They will have perils to meet, but they will meet them, as the settlers did on American shores. Okay, so let's just go back to those two. This is no fanciful flight of imagination. So what's going to happen to this? Is this going to happen? Yeah, so this is the journey, right? This is going to happen. The journey is what that is about. Now, we shall see homes established on distant planets. What does that mean?
There's always like they're already thinking into the future. Like they're gonna have all these people living in different places.
Right, we're going to be on different planets. So we're living. So what could be right? Just we're living not just on Earth, right? In the future, we're living on what?
Planet.
Good. So in future, we are living on planets. I would just write that because that seems pretty key. We're talking about on Earth to the planets. We shall buy tickets later as now we buy them for a foreign vacation. Reserve our seats or berth, right? Or sleeping area. That's what berth means. Sleeping area. Then spending a holiday month on a moon of Saturn. Look tenderly back to our little shining Earth. So what would be the main idea of that stanza? What's that about?
Having a place
Good. To what?
to stay.
To stay, to visit. Excellent. So this is about really a foreign vacation, right? That's really what the main idea is about. So a visit, right? Visiting other planets. And those who decide they will not make the journey will remember a son up there or a favorite niece, eagerly awaiting news from the old home planet, and will scribble a line to catch the post for space. What is the home planet?
Earth.
Earth. Okay. So those who decide not to make the journey, what does that mean? Will everyone travel?
No.
No. So not everybody will want to. Let's just put that. Not everyone will want to. But will they still be able to communicate?
Yes.
Yes. So they'll figure that out. They've got their way. So post early for space. Let's think about the title. Post early for space. So what do you do? Post early for space. What do you think that title means?
I think it's like preparing to go to space.
I like that. Preparing to go to the space. And I wonder also, post is also a term with mail, right? And they're ending with connecting with people. So scribbling a line, or you used to post a letter in the post office.
Sending.
So maybe post early for space or something along that line. So we'll see. Okay, so we've read those two questions. And, now we answer our questions. From 11 to 12 on the poem. Why does the poet compare space travelers to Earth settlers of America? To highlight the difficulties that the early settlers encountered when venturing into new places? Was it all about the way the earthly settlers encountered problems? No. It was not about problems. To imply that the obstacles the early settlers faced discouraged them from exploring new lands? Hold on, let's look at this. They will have perils to meet, but they will meet them as the early settlers did on American shores. What are perils? We have to go back to that word. Does it look like they're easy? But is key. But they will meet them. Did Americans, was it easy when they first moved here?
No.
Right, they died there was pestilence and disease. So perils would mean something negative, right? Like a what? Like perils or dangers, right? So dangers, something like that. Okay, so let's go back. To highlight the difficulties that the early settlers encountered when venturing into new places. Okay? That they could encounter, we'll see. To imply that the obstacles the early settlers faced discouraged them from exploring new lands. Hold on, let's go back. Is A really wrong? Is perils about difficulties?
Yeah.
It is. So let's change that to a question mark. Let's just change it to a question mark and think about that. Now, to apply that the obstacles the early settlers faced discouraged them, which made them not want to explore new lands.
No,
Did that turn them away?
No,
No,
because
because
in
they
here
actually
they were
wanted-
telling about how much
That's
they
right.
wanted to.
So that one's wrong, not this one. Okay. To suggest that explorers will overcome the difficulties in space, just as explorers in the past overcame the difficulties.
Yes.
That could definitely work, right? To demonstrate that explorers will encounter the same challenges in space as the explorers in the past did on other frontiers. Will they be the exact same?
No.
No, same is wrong. So we know that one's out. So what would our best answer be?
C.
C. Very good. Okay. Now, what does the final stanza of the poem suggest about the future? So we do have to read it. And I had marked it Q10, Q16. And those who decide they will not make the journey will remember a son up there or a favorite niece, eagerly awaiting news from the old home planet, and will scribble a line to catch the post, that's in the title, for space. I'm going to do this. That's in the title, and it's right there. We know that's important. And if this is about scribbling a line to catch the post for space, what's happening here? What are they trying to do in this last stanza?
To connect back to the title.
Right, they're connecting back to the title and they're saying, is everybody wanting to travel?
No.
No. And so how are they communicating with those who do travel?
Through mail.
Sending.
Through mail or their version of the mail. So let's go back. Some people will travel to other planets while others will choose not to. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yep, so let's put that. That's true. Some will travel, others will not to, choose not to. Some people who travel to other planets will no longer communicate with people living on Earth. Will they drop them?
No.
No, it's not about that. Some people will regret their decision to remain on Earth. Does this look like the people on Earth are so sad that they didn't go? No, it's not about regret. That's the wrong word. So I'm going to X that out. It's not about regret. They're just missing their people. They're not regretting that they didn't go. People who travel to other planets will want their family members living on Earth to join them.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about that. Does it talk about them wanting the people to join them?
No.
I mean, no, it might be that they want them to join them, but is it really emphasizing that?
No.
No, it's just emphasizing the communication. So what's our best answer?
F.
Excellent. And that's correct. Okay. Read these lines from the poem. Once we were wayfarers, then seafarers, then airfarers. We shall be spacefarers soon. The progression from wayfarers to spacefarers demonstrates that people have made scientific discoveries while traveling to new places?
No.
That's scientific wayfarers. No, it's not about discoveries, is it? That's the X part. Have developed ways to explore new regions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, kind of.
We can put kind of. So they have developed new ways. Look at all these different ways. From this way to sea to air, right? Sea, air, and space. Okay. Have developed ways to explore new regions. True. Select the mode of transportation that is most convenient. Is it all about being most convenient?
No.
No. So we know that's wrong. Prefer some forms of transportation over others.
Maybe.
Is there? Okay, maybe they do. So if we go back, the progression from wayfarers, this is the first one, to spacefarers demonstrates that people prefer some forms of transportation or have developed ways to explore new regions.
Yes. Have developed ways to explore new
Excellent.
regions.
And of course you got it right because you're doing all your good footwork. Excellent. Okay, next. What do the descriptions of the future through the poem suggest about the speaker? He believes that people will be intimidated, like not want to go there, by the challenge of space travel. Intimidated means negative. Are they going to not choose to travel by space? No. He feels, and if you didn't know that word, you could just wait and not cross it out and see what your other selections were. He feels confident that people will be able to travel easily through space.
Yes.
Okay.